Are you polyamorous?
Oh, yes, I am, absolutely. There's just simply not enough freedom for me in a monogamous relationship, period. Freedom is extremely important for me. Like, I'm not trying to convert monogamous person into polyamory. I'm not playing those games. My boyfriends, they're so different. Age, nationality, languages they speak, skin tone. I just cannot pick one. I want to say about jealousy. I have no jealousy at all. 2 years later, basically, my boyfriend cheated on me.
I'm polyamorous.
No! You see, I converted you so quickly. I wanted to say it's harder to find a person to have a good conversation with versus have a good sex with.
There it is, right there.
And if there's any capacity left for you and for them to have conversation, have it, do it. If not, ciao.
Ciao.
Okay.
I like that.
Welcome to Gay Chat.
What is going on? You are listening and watching Tags Live, aka Talk About Gay Sex, the live edition, where we're here every Wednesday night on the Crowdcast platform. I am your host, Steve V. This is episode 776, alongside the beautiful, talented Cody Marie Stolged. How the hell you doing, Cody?
Hello, darling. I'm doing wonderful. You know, it's always wonderful in New York City. How you doing?
Very good, very good. And we are in studio today with our very special guest, Oleg Kudinov.
That's
Did
right.
I say that right?
Hello. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to be here.
It's great to be
guys.
here.
It's so special. Oh my
You
god.
are so special, baby.
And the next one will be 777.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, like a
I know,
number. Oh my
exactly.
gosh.
Well, let me introduce you. Today we're talking to our very special guest, Oleg, a life coach, you're a content creator and moderator of Russian language queer conversations. He has also organized polyamory meetups for gay men and has explored everything from open relationships and chosen families to sexual health, marriage, and life as a queer person across different cultures. So tonight we're asking, are gay men helping to invent a more honest way of loving and connecting, or have we simply created new complications, new labels, and new ways to avoid intimacy?
How do you know everything about me? Oh my god.
Listen, the internet is a powerful place. But I remember when I met you and you were telling me about polyamory, and it was at a time that I was interested in it a lot. We were talking about it on this show, and you sent me a bunch of meetup groups that I think you started, correct?
Correct.
How did you get into polyamory, and are you polyamorous?
Oh yes, I am, absolutely. I love this question because the way how it happened. So I was in a monogamous relationship for close to 6 years. It was over, I don't know, 5 years ago or so. And then as soon as we completely finished, I was thinking, I think I don't want to go. I was starting to go on the dates again, and I was like, it's gonna be all again the same and the same.
Right. Yeah.
So I was like saying to myself, I have to find something completely new and different. I didn't know polyamory exists back then.
Yeah.
So
All right, a lot of people, we should explain the difference between open relationships and polyamory. A lot of people know, but in general, polyamory to you means what? Because I can tell you what I think, but you go ahead.
You go ahead.
It's the idea that when you can have multiple relationships and we're
At the same time.
At the same time,
different people.
our dear friend who officiated Diego and I, Kyle, is polyamorous and taught me a lot about it. We've had Kyle on the show. Shout out to Kyle Applegate. But open relationships simply means you open your relationship up and you can have three ways, sex,
Sexual connection with other people,
connection.
but not romantic.
Right, and sometimes it's together
yeah.
with your partner. Sometimes it's a don't ask, don't tell, and people actually go off and do it on their own. And sometimes there's periods of time with open relationships. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. I know with my own relationship, we've had our fun with it, but complications with it. We're figuring it out. But yes, but all right, well, your definition and how you got into it.
I mean, so the way how I got in, I was going on different dates. I realized it's all gonna be the same. I'm gonna find another person, and then we're gonna date, and then I'm gonna break up again. I'm like, come on, it's not gonna be one and forever. Come on. So I was basically in a subway in New York City, and I saw the ad of the app called OkCupid, dating app.
Yeah.
It was like all over the city back then. And it was like a different, like for different group of people, for
Yes.
this, for that. And the polyamory was one, well, it was actually saying non-monogamous.
Okay.
And it was like 3 people on the picture, 3 person.
Yes.
Okay, I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know this is possible. This is exactly what I'm looking for. So I basically set up my profile. I downloaded the app, set up profile, and like 2 weeks later, I went on my first date with a polyamory person.
Oh, wow. Would you say that the lessons that you learned in your previous relationship, tell us a little bit more about that, about how your previous relationship affected your outlook on
Yeah, and how did they
going
respond
forward?
too,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
I mean, there's just simply not enough freedom for me in a monogamous relationship, period. Freedom is extremely important for me. That's why I moved from Russia to US many years ago.
Yeah, I mean, we could get into the politics of Russia and what
hope
life
And
is
freedom
like.
in
Freedom
general.
in general.
I hope
True.
we do.
That even that's we'll get into all the
Yeah.
politics later. But yeah, no. Was at the time your partner willing to explore this as well, or did they look at you?
No, we finished monogamous
okay.
relationship and I was single. So I basically, after that, I was only seeing and dating the guys who was into polyamory.
Okay.
Like, I'm not trying to convert monogamous person into polyamory. I'm not playing those games.
Yeah. So is it important when you go on dates that you find somebody that is okay with this? Because
Yes.
that brings up, when I was talking about polyamory, when Kyle was talking about it, I remember before I met Diego, there was a person that told me that I was spending some time with that he was into polyamory. And I thought, maybe I'm into it too. I don't think I am at all. I'm into a monogamous marriage now, but he's our cameraman today. But I was considering it at the time, but is that important when you meet somebody that, let's just say you start having feelings for, to immediately tell them or early on in the relationship? Because it could create problems, I think. Or they could be, I mean, it's very progressive.
Yeah, there is a question like, when do you say to other people, when do you tell that you are you're in a poly relationship, or you're dating or seeing other guys? I'm still kind of working on it, and I was a couple of years ago, I would go and say on the very first day that I have a boyfriend or boyfriends, and they're like, how many boyfriends? How many? You know. Now I am like trying to see, you know, how often, like how many times I'm gonna see the person, and then maybe after that I'm gonna mention something like that. I don't know. People react differently to that information, and I'm just trying to like find the best way to introduce this concept to them.
I think these conversations are so important. It's the same with bisexuality too, where so many people are, wait, you're not, for years and years we heard, oh, no one's really bisexual, you're really gay, or it's this fine line, it's a layover, as Margaret Cho likes to say, and it's like, no, people are really bisexual.
Yeah.
And we need to talk more about polyamory. I mean, when I've talked to some of my other friends who are in polyamorous relationships, when they're with one person, they are with that person. And when they're making plans with somebody else, they're with that person too. Those two worlds can collide a little bit because we live, right? It's a continuum that we live in. So you might be having conversations with both, but your feelings, I feel, and you correct me if I'm wrong, are with, your heart is with both of these people or many more.
I mean, absolutely. My boyfriends, they're
I didn't want an absolutely, but
my boyfriends, they're so different. Age, nationality, languages they speak, skin tone. I just cannot pick one.
Which brings up, because we're a sex podcast, is how you
Top, bottoms, versus all of that too, honey, of course.
Into that already?
Oh my God.
That would be very good, very interesting too. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I mean, but what I'm curious about before we get into that, there's a whole nother conversation.
Honey, why are you curious about it so much? Tell me, please.
Oh no.
Are you applying for a new?
Always.
Yeah, always. You're taking applications at all times.
I think he applied to me. No,
I
wait.
mean, it
He's
was on
recruiting.
pause.
He's
I
recruiting.
am.
Yeah, that's what it is. Well, I'm just curious about how you feel this relates to the modern day relationship in gay culture. Do you think this is the way we're going? Do you think this is the way that,
I'm not trying to create a trend, but I think
Which
I do.
You're a natural trendsetter.
Oh my God. But I think, it could be a potential future for a relationship. The sad part, I wanted to say, people really take this information so slowly. They cannot really adjust and adapt, etc. Like, regardless how dating life looks like, especially gay life, and especially big cities like New York City, people still kind of believe in one and only and all of that stuff. I don't understand how. Hopefully, please listen to me. Come on, there's another way. There's a healthy way. There's another. I don't know. I think it's just monogamy. I mean, it hurt me in so many ways, I would say, and polyamory could be very beautiful because the way how you connect with people is so different. You do different things with different people. Romantically, sexually, time-wise, spiritually, all of that stuff. And just one person cannot offer all of your needs. I have a lot of needs. I have a lot to offer to different people.
Yeah.
And one person just cannot handle all of that.
I have to push back just a little bit. You don't think that's like individually, like, because I see myself completely different in that aspect. But like, I get it for you, but how are you going to put that 100% onto me as well?
What?
That
100%
whole
you just can't.
polyamory thing. I think it's individual.
Polyamory thing.
That's how you call it.
The way you polyamory.
You call my thing polyamory, honey.
I've heard it called worse.
Tell me.
So no, but what do you think? You think that it's individual? Do you think that it's like? I don't think we can make a blanket statement about that. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I'm trying. As far what I hear here. I'm not trying to make everyone polyamorous, but I think just the concept of it can help other people to navigate their relationship better. So,
So you think it can be mind-opening for more future relationships?
Correct.
I love that. Okay.
Less
Well, that I can get
jealousy.
behind.
Correct. Less jealousy, more freedom, more communication.
Yeah.
Because in polyamory, there's a lot of communication involved. But in monogamy, it has to be the same. But people just don't talk to each other about their
I do think, though, it brings up a lot of points with our queer gay culture in that we didn't have a structure growing up to follow. In other words, many of us didn't grow up. We talk about it on the show all the time.
That's why I'm watching your podcast.
Yeah.
Because your topics are so important.
Right. We didn't grow up with structures that really worked, and we have a lot of parents, not mine, but many that are end in divorce. And I think our community has always been at the forefront of trying, I just talked on the other day about BDSM culture and how important that was to me. And I know back in the day, maybe not now with things like 50 Shades of Grey in the general ethosphere, but a lot of people were like, what? Dom, sub, whipping, flogging, and that's just the basics. I mean, that's well for me.
That's a lot of lessons to take.
But now that's become so common nature, almost household. So polyamory, I think it's our way, our culture of pushing, and I do think our community is at the forefront of that. But I wonder if...
At least kids are not involved, so that's kind of on the way, I mean?
That is
most of the time. So it's a little bit easier to navigate, I believe.
But I guess if we're finding it challenging in America for American queer audiences to even comprehend polyamory, how is your listening audience in Russia, where limited access, how are they responding to polyamory?
Jesus, it's such a painful topic. Because, I mean, I have my YouTube podcast for 2 years.
Yes.
And your podcast was my biggest inspiration to start my own podcast.
Thank you.
Guys. I mean, there is so much content in English language. I mean, there's a lot, but still not enough, like a gay content. And But the topics you guys discussed here for so many years is, wow, this level of commitment. I'm like, Jesus, I have to do something similar, but in a like for the Russian audience, because there is absolutely nothing. And I do bring those topics to my podcast, like polyamory and just navigating relationship differently. Unfortunately, what's going on right now in Russia, like I see how audience respond to it, and it's getting worse and worse, like every single month.
Do you
like,
get blocked ever? Like, because I mean, I guess they couldn't block you from publishing here, but can Russians see your content?
They actually blocking YouTube completely.
Yeah.
Wow.
Totally.
So
They cannot even watch YouTube normally without VPNs and other like whistles.
Oh, thank God for VPNs.
Thank God for VPNs. Yes, definitely.
I mean, it's crazy how they live life these days. And it's just by the comments and response of the audience, I just see it's just less response. Like people just go back to the shelf, which is just crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, that's wild. So most of your content is in Russian. So it's for Russia, but also noticed that there's like a close-knit community of Russian gays here in
And
New York
other
City.
countries too, immigrants.
Cool.
Yeah,
Talk
anywhere.
to us a little bit about that.
I mean, I love it. I've done some episodes in Vietnam, in Thailand, in the Philippines.
Yeah, love it.
So I like to travel and see how other countries live, like a gay life, relationship, etc. I've done my episodes mostly here in New York, also in Miami. There's a big Russian community there, queer community. So I wanted to. I mean, I'm sure you maybe know, like gay life in New York and gay life in Miami is different, like especially relationship. Did you notice Wilton Manors?
Well,
I think they're way more.
Our co-host Lincoln was just saying that New York versus where he's currently at right now in California, where I grew up, is totally different too. It's a little bit slower than New York, and we're kind of quick, which means when we're on the apps, when we're meeting people, whether it's sex or relationships, we want that meet up, hook up,
Immediate
date to happen right away. So
Is that what you're talking about though, as far as the difference between New York and Miami?
That part, and also relationship. I think in Miami they're way more relationship oriented, like Wilton Manors area. Yeah.
I gotta move to find a relationship.
Absolutely, honey. I'm telling you, like you go in the bars in Wilton Manors and they ask you, "Do you have a boyfriend?" I'm like, nobody asked me this question in New York City, and I have three. How do I answer?
One in every city.
Oh my God, and a couple of other countries too. So yeah.
But I do think what you're doing is so important, and if your audience is in Russia, can't hear you unless it's a VPN.
They still watch it.
They still watch it. Okay, good. Well, I mean, we just did this whole topic where Atlantis Cruise was barred from docking in Turkey, and then they rerouted, and then they moved over to Egypt. Well, Egypt also barred them from coming in.
And then they went to Russia, no?
They did not go to Russia.
They didn't even try.
No. I mean, that would have been a bad check. Our camera.
I love it. It's going crazy.
That was a good
one. And then we've got our mascot, Bella, roaming around here, too. Yeah. But no, I mean, what you gave us credit for what we've done here, but we got to give you a lot of credit for the Russian queer community. You're doing a lot for the people there, I think, especially with stories like this.
It's so admirable.
I'm doing it for them, and what people message me in my DMs on Instagram or Telegram, even on YouTube, it's just, I just want to cry sometimes because they keep waiting for my episodes. For them to watch this 1 hour of my episode that I do almost every single week for 2 years, that's something like a fresh air for them.
That's amazing.
So fabulous.
That was on my microphone. But I had this question for you that I think is about, before we move on, about polyamory. And do you think polyamory requires more emotional maturity, or can it sometimes become a way of avoiding commitments?
Honey,
Good
you have to make your questions a little bit simpler, okay? English is my second language. Spanish is my third. Vamos a hablar español aquí con otra audiencia. ¿sí?
Right, we saw each other in Puerto Vallarta. You speak very
Exactamente.
good Spanish.
Sí.
Yeah. No, does
It does require way more emotional intelligence
Okay.
and all of that stuff, for sure. Like, you have to know how to navigate your own emotions. You have to know how to, listen to other person, like feel what they're looking for, what they want to, etc. Like, and navigate several relationships.
I think it's amazing. And when I first heard about it, I was like, wow, this really is emotionally intelligent. I don't think my mind, because Diego and I talk like all day long. We're on FaceTime. We're like planning this, planning that. I mean, I couldn't imagine like if there was 3 other FaceTimes coming in and I'm trying to do my work. If you saw me today planning this show, it was not an easy task. I only have enough like battery power for one person, but I get it. And I'm really intrigued by it. And I think it's really, because we all know how busy we all are. Are you wired at all? Does it sound intriguing? Oh my God.
Not in any way, shape, or
Go
form.
to Wilton Manors, honey.
I think
Let's
that
go
I'm
there. I'll
wired
introduce you to
to be
the
sexually explorative, but I don't think that like if I'm in a relationship, I can't do that. I need to focus on one person, and I'm gonna like push back again a little bit. I know we're on here arguing, but
no, it's a healthy convo.
It's conversation. But I do think that in any relationship, emotional intelligence is required. So I think that being in any relationship will build your emotional intelligence and teach you how to not be so jealous. Because even when I was in a relationship, my boyfriend, he's not my property. He can go talk to other people, and it requires some emotional intelligence to be able to navigate that. So I will push back and say that is required. Do you want to respond to that?
I want to say about jealousy. I have no jealousy at all. That's my.
You have no jealousy.
That's my
let's
problem.
talk about this.
Has that always been a part of your makeup?
It's always been like that.
I think that's great to not have it. I have some for sure.
I got what he don't have.
You got it all. You can take it. You can have it. Enjoy.
I got my own, and I have his as well.
Is that a component of a successful polyamorous relationship? In other words, so if you're having 3 partners and you find a polyamorous one of your partners and they have 3 others.
They do have.
Do you all get together?
No question.
We don't have to.
Okay.
It's up to them wherever they.
I read somewhere that you went to an actual, I forget, I wanted to go there too. It's in upstate New York, and it was a polyamorous retreat.
Yes, for gay men.
And
Oh
for
my
gay
God, that
men.
was so good.
Yeah.
Oh my
What
gosh.
did you learn from that, and what was it being around like-minded polyamorous people?
Well, first of all, when there's so many people in front of you who's practicing polyamory for years, some of them maybe on the beginning, you can see the polyamory could be in so many different shapes and forms, and there's so many variations. So it's like there is like poly kitchen table. That's mean when all the partners live together, share time and space, etc. It could be solo poly. There is so many. I don't want to go into the terms, but like you learn that your polyamory could look differently and you can navigate differently the way how you spend time with your boy. It doesn't mean that all of them calling me on the FaceTime and I'm like,
right, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like that.
Well, one of my dear friends has a husband and then he has a boyfriend, and his husband also has a partner too.
Yep.
The 4 of them were about to go on an upcoming cruise, and it's the Rush cruise by Vakaya, and it's going to be very sexually charged.
Yep.
And I'm really excited. I can't wait to hear all the juicy details. But I said, have you guys ever hung out, the 4 of you together? And they said, yeah, we have. And it's copacetic, it works. And I do think but it's a husband and then the boyfriend. So in other words, in their relationship, and hearing what you're saying, there can be very different aspects of it. They share a house together. They share the bills together. The husband's do. Their boyfriends have different relationships. Sometimes he stays at one of his boyfriends, and right now they just have one boyfriend and then the husband, but it can look very different ways, and I think that's the beauty of it. It can look like gay relationships can look many different ways.
Yeah, totally.
And you're basically never single, and you never,
Yeah.
and you don't have to say no to one person because you already have somebody in your life. You can always say yes.
I just pretend like I'm never single. So I have a quick question, unless you want to pop in. It's
No,
related
yeah.
to this, but it's a little bit off the topic. What do you think about the stigma? Do you think that monogamous gays have like a stigma towards polyamorous gays? And do you think there's the inverse as well, to where polyamorous gays have a stigma towards monogamous gays?
Ooh.
I've been waiting to ask this one. I was like, I got something for his ass.
I don't know if it's stigma. They might be intrigued by this kind of relationship, okay? I feel sometimes I have kind of stigma towards monogamy relationship.
Oh, wow.
I'm sorry, guys.
You may have picked up
You
on
can
that.
punish me tonight. I'm sorry. I'm ready for that.
Okay, you're staying
but-
for the after show.
I've never heard anything from monogamy people like something to say against of polyamory. They just have nothing to say because there's so much information to learn about it.
Yeah.
First, to be against of it, you know what I mean? Mostly like, oh really? You have 3 boyfriends? I'm like, oh, okay. And that's about it. That's all what they can say.
Yeah.
That's it. So,
Okay, all right.
yeah.
What about, do some of your relationships have a lifespan? In other words, are you willing to accept that one relationship might only have worked for a certain period of time and then it plays itself out? And how does that, or do you go through the same, and I'm hearing the answer because the answer would be yes, but
I love it.
but do you hear, like, let's
interviewing
just say you have 3 boyfriends. What if one of it isn't, it played itself out? Do you go through the same breakups that all of us go through when a relationship actually ends? And I mean, Cody, when any one of us have ended a relationship, it's almost like you can't move on. I mean, you have to really,
Trapped in a closet.
But yet you have these
sheets over
other,
my
do you
head.
lean on those other relationships? Do you
No.
do you immediately put
That's so
a
interesting.
Craigslist out for a new relationship to fill that spot? And I know Craigslist is dating me, but go ahead.
Unfortunately not. It's also emotional. Yeah, I was just recently going through some hiccups in my
Yeah.
relationship that we have to navigate, we have to discuss.
Yeah.
And it was a very, very, very emotional.
Okay.
Like, oof.
Did you inform the other boyfriends that what was going on? None of their business.
You know what I did?
Your girlfriends.
Well, I said, guys, I think we need a counselor. So that was my request. I said I think we have to discuss with the professionals here.
Okay.
And then 2 days later, I decided to go to my YouTube channel.
And use them.
And no, I did. They never been on my channel, but I brought that topic to my YouTube channel. I was
Oh.
almost crying. I was shaking. I was so emotional to share this information with my audience, because often I can't. Like, it's very hard to find a psychologist who's gonna understand your specific polyamory relationship. It's gonna take me a couple of months to find a good one.
Even any relationship, Cody, when we made you talk about your breakup, and you did.
Are we doing this again?
Did you find it?
Did you find somebody to help you? Oh, my
Well,
God,
you did find people, but did you find it therapeutic at all, talking about the breakup?
To my therapist or to my hookup?
To the show.
Oh my gosh,
this
don't talk to
show.
your hookups
I do.
about your exes. Oh man, no. No quiero eso, come
No
on.
quiero eso.
Dímelo todo,
Everybody had
pero-
a good time. Just
You
so
do need more wine for this answer.
I love it.
Thank you, darling. No, it was definitely very therapeutic. This show to me is kind of like therapy anyway, so I feel like that I get a lot out. I get to process a lot by being on this show. Just like with my music, I really get to express myself. I think that's my main outlet, is being able to sing and really just get all those emotions out that I have going on. So yeah, I definitely think that being here and having the audience, because I did meet 2 people, I didn't even tell you this. Met 2 people at my job yesterday and they were saying how lovely the podcast is. They listened to the podcast, and I waited on them. So so shout out to I forgot his name, but I'll look it up and I'll say hi to him again. But I'm bad with names.
You know, before we move on though, as fellow content creators, I certainly didn't think that this show was going to resonate the way it did 8+ years later, and it has. And to your point, Cody, and what you heard, and we hear this, especially when we go out, like Pride just happened, and we saw a lot of people that were like, hey, from out of town, telling us how much they love the show and what it meant to them. And that's what keeps me continuously doing it. I have to say, for what you're doing, we mentioned it before, to your Russian audience, your Russian queer audience, Russians living here, it's a big deal. How much impact does that weigh on you, and expressing, even when you were through a breakup, mean to you?
I do want to say a huge thank you to a Russian-speaking community, immigrants who lives here, to those guys who joined my podcast, because I'm never there by myself. It's always new people. So it's 4 of us, it's 4 or 3, okay, and it's almost always new faces. So it's not easy for them either to talk openly about, we talk everything, sex and all the fetishes and you name it, basically publicly.
Yeah.
So they left Russia, right? But there's still a lot of stigma in a lot of immigrants who lives here, and people say no to me, like, oh, your podcast is like too open, I cannot discuss that. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, of course. But those people who is come into my podcast to talk about it, we having great time. We have jokes, etc. But we also talk about some deep stuff and sex. And I just want to kind of make like a gay people be seen normal, and like it was a huge luck even back then in Russia when I left, which was like over 12 years ago. Okay, it was way better back then in Russia in terms of gay community, lifestyle, etc. Even then, it was not enough freedom for me. Now, we need it
Couldn't
even
imagine,
more.
right? Yeah.
Absolutely crazy.
Wow.
Well, I have a question. Do you think that it is more because of fear? What do you think is the reason that they can't or won't come on your show?
It is fear, of
It's
course.
fear, but like of retaliation, of family issues.
Some people still not open to their families.
Yeah.
Even they live here for 5+ years. They might have a boyfriend or even husband.
Wow.
Their parents still don't know they're gays. So meaning when they have let's say a weekly call to their moms, they still pretending something, which is, oh my gosh, it really it hurt my heart a lot. Yeah. I really wish more people to explore just freedom. It's so important. It's extremely important. I couldn't be myself who I am today if I wouldn't do my coming out back then, if I wouldn't go to therapy for so many years, if I wouldn't, there's
the power
a lot
of therapy,
of work.
yes, and you're a life coach as well. We should
Yes.
mention as well. So,
Yes.
but I did have a question, because we've been talking a lot about polyamory and how important it is to you. But what about open relationships? Did you try in any of your relationships opening them up? Just because of its needs, a lot of people always feel like it's a sexual need, right?
Sure.
What was it about open relationships that didn't work for you that you found polyamory does?
So I was in a relationship with my monogamous boyfriend, and we've been together for approximately 3 years. And I said, do you think we should try with a third person something? Should we try something like that? He said no.
Is that how you asked?
He said,
That's
"Do you
how
think that we should
that-
try?"
Yeah. I mean, come on. That was a very sensitive topic to me back then. Now I'm like, hello, you can have me tonight, honey. And you too. Back then it wasn't like that. So I asked him this question. He said, absolutely no, that's not my thing. No, it's just 2 of us and that's it. And what happened later?
She didn't like your legs in the air, that's all. It's our mascot, Bella, yeah. She's okay, baby.
Yeah.
Baby.
And so what happened later, 2 years later, basically my boyfriend cheated on me. What?
Okay, see? So it's so much better when you put it out in the open, honesty versus...
Honesty is important,
So the person that was so adamantly against
He said, no, I'm
was the
only
cheater.
into monogamy. No, we're not going to do a third person, anything like that. But then he brought another person.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
that's a lot.
Yeah. I mean,
It's crazy to me that monogamy goes alongside with the cheating. It's crazy. It's like, come on.
what do you think about? Because I've met a lot of people, especially going on a lot of Vakaya cruises, thruples. And when thruples are literally making it work, and sometimes they live together. I've met other thruples that two of them, again, are the husbands, and then the third lives in not even in the same city, and he just comes in periodically.
Yeah.
Is thruples a polyamorous relationship, or is it what it is, a thruple?
No, it's also part of poly. Yeah,
It is part of
is under. So there is a bigger umbrella.
What
that's
does the
called
polyamorous
non-monogamy.
God say?
There is a monogamy
that-
and non-monogamy.
In the rules of the literature of ancient times.
Non-monogamy is basically the opposite of monogamy. So it's the bigger umbrella of everything. That's not monogamy. Even open relationship, I think, goes into that category. So polyamory, and the triples, yes, of course, it is a form of polyamory, definitely.
Yeah. And I've met a lot. Have you met throuple couples
I want to
that
be in a
work?
throuple.
Oh, you do?
You want to be the third and
Oh,
desired.
you do? This is
and-
polyamory. This is polyamory.
This is
That's new to me,
polyamory.
but it feels like monogamy to me because if I could be in a relationship with two people at
And
the
that's
same
it,
time,
close
and
relationship,
a
right?
close relationship.
Yeah, it
That's
is.
polyamory.
It is polyamory.
I'm polyamorous. Who
No.
knew?
You see, I converted you so quickly.
Thank you. You did. You're the poly whisperer, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I want to move on to something that we've been talking a lot about recently, and it's dating, and it's about finding that person or persons in your case, and it's using the dating apps or what we've been talking about, Cody, a lot on this show. There's this new, I don't know, resurgence of going back out there and meeting people in person, which I personally love. It's how I met Diego. I've never been an app person. I tried it. You do really well
love
on the
this topic.
apps.
I do really well on that.
But I know.
I'm not using apps for more than 3 years.
Really?
Yeah.
At
it's just-
all.
and with we were just did a whole story on the show of there's a new app, Goose, that is really trying to get people to connect and about connection, but then they used AI allegedly. And are they, like Archer, are they going to work? Are they not going to work? Or is it just putting yourself out there? It sounds like you're a fan of putting yourself out there by joining.
This boy have seen me how I do.
I wasn't going to say anything. I wasn't going to
Hold on, tonight is Wednesday.
I
Oh
wasn't gonna
my
say a word.
God.
But I'm glad you brought it up because I have seen you in action and it is a thing to be seen. So I think I learned some tricks from you.
Wow, I love it.
You brought it up. I didn't bring it up. Yes. So what
No,
are you
I'm
gonna say?
speechless.
Well, first, give
Nothing
your
to
take
say.
on the apps and what you think about using them, and do they work? Do they not work? And how do you meet all of your polyamorous boyfriends? And I'm assuming boyfriends, yes.
Yes. Well, I do like sex positive places.
Yes.
Okay, some kind of bars or sex parties or events, whatever it is. Could be not sex positive, could be sober events, or could be both actually. We're gonna have a next weekend, something like that in
Okay.
Brooklyn, yeah.
Call me.
Sure.
A sober event. yes?
Sober, sex
Oh,
positive event.
Okay.
yes.
You
Okay.
are
I am sober.
Sober,
for
yes.
over 12 years. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you. And I think, so how do, I mean, I don't know, for me it's so easy to meet people. It's never been a problem. I'm sorry, I don't know. For me, gay dating apps is just such a waste of time. It's just, we have already so many notifications in our lives, on our phones. We want to kind of mute it and stuff like that. And on top of it, you get in all these messages, hi, how are you? Hi, how are you? I'm like, come on. I have 3 boyfriends, like I have to handle so many people in my life.
That's why you can't answer the messages because you have 3 boyfriends already.
Exactly.
No, but it does bring up a good point that you need to be a little bit more out there, gregarious when you're meeting people. I would argue my husband is not Mr. loud, but we met in the New York Eagle, and he was very willing to meet me. And so
people pretty friendly in Eagle and many other places.
Yeah.
Wait, not or not? Did you use the apps much, Diego, before you met me, or were you more of an in-person? You.
I never met anybody.
On the you didn't meet
In person.
No, and on the app.
On the apps you never met.
But
Oh,
you
you
met-
see?
I see.
So
And
In
would you
person.
agree
So
you're
he
more
preferred to meet in
quieter?
person.
And yet you still met people in person more than you did on the apps.
I'm on
yeah.
Lonely Island over here.
Oh, so give me
yeah.
a take. Yeah.
It's okay, you know, to each their own.
Yeah.
It's you know, everything is not for everyone, and I see that. And also, I also meet people in person.
Everywhere, everything, all at once.
It's
Everything,
crazy.
everything.
I wanted to tell you, even when I travel, the places I've never been in my life, the countries I've never been in my life, I still meet people in person. Even I don't speak the language, I still meet people in person
Well,
better.
I was curious about
We-
that because you've been to Thailand. You don't speak any of those languages.
No.
Thailand, Vietnam, Vietnamese.
Philippines. They speak
Philippines.
perfect English. in the
Yeah.
Philippines,
Oh, okay. So
It's a vibe, Cody.
I
You
love
just put
it.
yourself out there.
People were just waving hands across the
Wait, you
street,
don't think I'm out
screaming my
there?
name. It was just crazy. Like, I just landed in the airport in Manila at 3 a.m. and people like, hi. I'm like, wow.
There
I-
are friendly people
They're
around the world.
extremely friendly. Oh my gosh, I miss
So
those
I met a
countries.
very friendly person last night from the
In
app.
person.
Yeah.
From an app.
And I met a friendly person on, when did we go to the Eagles? Sunday. I met a couple friendly people.
Did you go to new bar, the gay club?
Rawhide.
Yes, here in New York, there's a new bar, new bar, if you will. It's an
Yes.
homage to Rawhide, and it's really.
me to get that?
Yes. Well, let me pour
It
me
gives me
first, but
vibes of Eagle.
it does give vibes of Eagle. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, come to New York. There's a new bar that's.
Would you call it
Rawhide.
a club?
I would call it a club. Yeah, because
It's bigger than just a regular bar.
but it
It has zero service on your phone. So
yeah,
as
I
soon
love
as
how
you
we're
go
reviewing
down-
this right now. But the review to me is it harkens back to an earlier era, maybe '90s, where when you went out, you know, nowadays there's these warehouse clubs and they're great, you know,
Yeah.
but sometimes it's a whole production, it's a whole getting out there. They're pushed to the outskirts of the particular city. I feel like this is around the corner from me, and it's like a great sound system, lower ceilings. It's got the great DJs, great lighting, and then when you want to have fun, like I always say in Europe, there's a dark room to be had. You can just make your way over there and have some fun.
Okay.
What's your review? Since we're
reviewing
reviewing,
Rawhide.
we didn't know we were reviewing Rawhide.
The lights, they have like
Lights, camera,
event
action.
lights there. So they have like, I think they're like laser lights, unless I was really drunk and I just imagined them.
You were drunk, kind of. There's no lasers.
I was coming from.
She's drunk right now, but
Yeah.
okay.
Give me some space, y'all. Give me some room. I'm good though. I was coming from Steve's house, so I was definitely drunk. But it's really a great ambiance. There's an upstairs space as well, and there's no pictures that are allowed. So that is an added bonus. And like you said, there's no service down there, so you can't even really do any of that. But it's a very welcoming and fun place to be. You can have a lot of fun.
And I will add where there's this argument that the club is over, the bars are dead, no one's opening up anything. It's
That's
so
what I wanna talk
refreshing
about. Yeah.
to see new spaces opening up, at least in New York, but I see in other parts of the country, that places are opening up. I do think this is how you meet people. What were you going to say?
No, about the bars, but it's
Yeah.
such a big topic. I mean, I do go to the bars sometime, and I'm trying to go at least like 3-4 places to see what's going on. A lot of empty places, unfortunately.
But meetup groups, I think, if you know, apps great if they work for you, awesome. There is this meetup group here that we were going to go to, Diego and I. It's called the Second Sunday in.
You never been?
Second Sunday.
You never been?
I've never been, but we
You
went out
must
too
go.
late the night before, which just means we had a really good time the night before.
We're going in August, though.
Let's go in
Please
August.
do. Oh my
It's in
gosh.
Central Park here, and to the point
There is a
of.
similar event this Sunday happening in Central Park.
Okay, well let us
It's a
please let
similar
us
vibe.
know.
I'll give you the information.
But I would argue there's places, hopefully, if you live in a big city or in a nearby big city, there are meetup groups all the time. And I do think it is a way to connect and meet people and find your, you know,
niche and
your next
core
sex
group of
partner,
people.
your next whatever
you call it.
whatever you're looking
I was
for.
gonna say friends, but okay.
Friends with benefits.
I mean, you can find whatever you're looking for out there.
Absolutely.
So there's a
Yeah.
space for you to meet people. And from what I hear, and I think I have been to the second Sunday maybe once prior, and it was a great time. I met a bunch of people. I got great sun, and it just was a beautiful, welcoming space. So I can't wait to go back. So those spaces are out there for us, and I feel like we should be utilizing them more. I feel like we should be utilizing all things that are available to us, including the apps. Judging.
Yes. Well, would you say that all of your partners you've met in person? And the second part of that question is, are they all in New York or are they in various parts of the world?
3 of them in New York.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Ooh.
There's more.
In what borough? In what borough? Queens? You know.
Manhattan. Well, 2 of them.
Not
it's
Staten
two of them
Island,
it's
please.
couple.
Don't
no.
say Staten Island. Okay.
Oh, you're boyfriends with a couple.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool.
Back to the throuple.
Back to the throuple. That's what I want to do.
Well, we are not exactly trouble because there's more of us. There's
Okay.
more on my side and there's more on their side. So they have more than just me. There's many of us, okay?
More.
More, give me more.
Give me more.
Would that be like a polycule? What exactly is a
Absolutamente.
polycule?
Si, senor.
Okay,
Sabes.
you just brought
He
up a
knows.
term.
It is a polycule, yes.
Joe.
Can you help us define what
yeah.
a polycule is? Because
I think I've
When
heard
it's
it.
like you don't want to count how many, it's like 3 or 4. If it's 3, it's trouble. It's 4, it's like okay, just polycule, whatever. 3 plus, it's polycle.
when you lose count, it's a polycule.
That's what we're talking about here. I love his reaction. He's so genuine. That should be recorded.
Yeah.
So, he's half naked already.
He's half
honey.
naked
I
already.
know.
You mentioned many of them are here in New York.
So yes, I do wanna. Oh my gosh, I wanna say hi to my. I still call him boyfriend, but it was hard to meet lately because he moved from Houston to Louisiana. Rick. He don't use even social media, so I have to send him specifically the link to watch this episode.
Oh wow.
Right. So I was flying to Houston to see him. Like I would fly there for a week, and we spent the whole week together.
Oh.
Yeah, and we would travel together to Las Vegas a couple of times, Puerto Vallarta one time, to Florida. He would fly here to New York. So long distance works too, and we had such an amazing time. Oof.
Oh
I miss him a
wow!
lot.
Just sit on that. You mentioned naked over there. Cody and I have been to the Naked Beach here not here, but in New Jersey, and we love it.
Yeah.
And you know, with such an emphasis on our bodies and being comfortable with your body and where you're at with it, we talk a lot about it on this show. I think I've seen you're comfortable with being naked and Naked Beach. How does that factor into your being today?
There's still not enough freedom in New York or even United States when you.
Yeah, we have to go to New Jersey, Cody.
Let's go.
It's about the same, but
it is
yeah,
the best
yeah,
state
that's
in America.
just-
Let's
yeah.
just say it. It's where I was born.
That's the beach, but when you go to Montreal, for example,
Yes.
there's a different scene. When you go to Bogota, there's a different
Oh wow,
scene.
Bogota!
When you go to Mexico, come on.
Come on,
Mexico
get
City.
into
Oh,
it.
yeah. Oof.
I mean, but New Jersey is the best in America.
Que rico!
In terms of what?
Yeah.
The beach?
Everything.
For-
Freedom.
What's special about New Jersey? Tell me. I didn't
I don't know. I'm not a rep
Have you
from
been to
New
Gunnison
Jersey.
before?
Huh?
Have you been to Gunnison
He's
before?
talking about the naked beaches in
yes,
Bogota,
yes. Yeah.
Mexico. and-
Not just beaches, but other places.
just other places.
There's just even the gay
Yeah.
club. You can go and do whatever you want. What should I say? I mean, it's.
You just love being naked, I guess, right?
I guess, yeah. I actually fascinated when I see those performances in Spain or Mexico or Bogota when they actually do performances on the stage. I think those allowed in Las Vegas.
Okay.
Yeah?
I think
It's Nevada or Las Vegas has
they're
a
kind of conservative
different-
over there,
They have
but
different rules for
Maybe
that.
not in Vegas specifically. I
There
feel
is
like there's
certain festivals, like
Yeah.
possible. I guess.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe so.
So
I think we should go do research.
We
yeah.
should.
Just for research purposes. He put his glasses
Speaking,
on.
well, I wanted to, while we have you
Let me
here,
research too.
Let me get closer to the stage and see if it's a
get
real penetration.
While we have you here, I wanted to ask
Sure.
you, bring you into a couple of hot topics, if we can.
Yes.
And one of them was something, so Cody, we were talking about the certain when you get hard and when you don't get hard.
Oh, yeah.
And weren't we talking about, well, there's
Not
a
me
new,
specifically.
No,
in general.
no. But we wanted to bring you
I can
into
talk
it.
about it, but
And it's called gym penis. It's this theory that when you're working out, so we were talking about on the beach recently, it's like beach penis, where a lot of girth and size can, and I noticed when I'm on the naked beach, speaking of naked beach, that's why I thought of this, is that it can hang more because my underwear, nothing's holding it under, and the heat actually makes it look girthier, and you can actually just don't get in the water, right? But there's a thing called gym penis right now that is, people are talking about how it gets smaller in the gym. And that shouldn't really matter, right? Unless
I mean,
you're
just
trying...
go to sauna
Well, go
and make it bigger.
Yeah, but go to the sauna and make it bigger, right? Exactly. Would this... But experts are really talking about this, that if you're trying to meet somebody and you're trying to show in your shorts...
Who's trying to show
I
their
mean,
shorts in
if
the
you're
gym?
trying to meet somebody in the gym and be a shower, this doesn't. It's a.
I've never done this thing before. I still see big penises in the gym, even in the heavy workouts. So
I bet you do.
I'm paying
Oleg.
attention to details and my workouts and the equipment, and I can see a huge equipment sometimes.
Do you know I once watched down?
Impressive.
I once walked down 19th Street, and my friend, he's an acquaintance, but I love him. He was like, and I was going to the salon to get I used to go to this like high-end salon that I don't go anymore. But he was like, I could see what side, the outline of your dick, and what side. I was like, you could? He's like, yes, girl. I was like, wow.
I used to be really hung up on that, about like my outline, my penis, and then I thought about like, what am I, a Ken doll? Who cares? Like, I have a penis.
Listen, we're in World
It's
Cup
here.
right now, and I just saw like a whole thing of what team was it that were jumping up and down? Argentina.
Oh my God!
When they were jumping up and down, close up on it, that was real, right, dear? Yes, and it is a real thing.
Oh, I believe you. I believe you.
Gray sweatpants, come on.
Yeah, I hear you. But also in the gym. So my trick in the gym for not having a small penis is I just go on Sniffies, and they send me all these nude pictures on Sniffies, and then it gets engorged.
Okay.
So that's
You're
a little.
using
a
sneezies
little
even
workaround.
while you're working out. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Why is that crazy?
Well, we love giving advice on
I
this.
like how you navigate those.
Well, we love giving advice on the show, and today should be no different. And normally we have people write in. Sometimes we do Reddits. But you, Cody, actually had a conundrum, as you told me.
I have a conundrum.
And
So,
since we have Oleg here, we figured we can both give
Oleg,
advice.
are you ready to give me some advice?
I hope so.
Just get in the polyamorous relationship and do it.
There it is.
Okay.
That's his
No,
version of
I'll
everything.
try. I'll do my best.
So recently, I was on Sniffies and I hooked up with this guy, and it solved one issue because I'd kind of been feeling out of my body during sex, but we talked for so long before we had sex to where I felt really comfortable with him. When we did eventually have sex, I felt in my body. I felt very in the moment. So that, I feel like that is where I'll come from, or that I'll try to replicate that experience more when it comes to me having sexual encounters with people, talk to them, make sure I get to know them a little bit. But as I was getting to know this guy, I was like, do I even want to really have sex with him?
Which is what you shared with me. Why? Because
some of the things that he was saying read to me just a little bit opposite of what my views and my morals were. So
Are you talking politics?
Politics, some other things that were going on as well. So yeah, what is your advice for navigating whether or not you should have sex with somebody based on their political views, or just like not moral disinterest. Like
It's
not
called
being-
friends with benefits.
Why?
You simply
I'm hate fucking him.
only see them for a moment, and because the sex is so good.
The rest
It
you
was-
just
And
don't
then
care.
when you say,
Great.
and then when it's over,
Great, and everything else
but
you
then
just don't
you,
want to know.
it's called friends with benefits. What would you say?
You can call it wherever you want. You can navigate. I mean, you can see this person as often as you want, or never again. It's up to you. But keep conversations to minimal. I mean,
But
I
that
usually
was,
don't.
That
talk
was
to
the
people.
hottest part. The fact that I kind of got to see his views and get to know him a little bit better. And I don't want anybody to like misconstrue this. He's a nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know him, by the way, so it doesn't really
know.
matter to us.
I mean,
you don't I mean, it's not like some celebrity you put out there that like, I don't want you to think that I don't like this person, Tadra Call, or whatever.
I imagine I hooked up with Henry Cavill. I don't know. But yeah, no, he's a nice guy. He made me tea. He did so many things that made me. Also, he was like, oh, I'll come to your job. I don't really drink, but I'll just come there to visit you. And who says that anymore?
So
I don't know that I want somebody coming to my job, though.
Well, I invited him.
Okay, all right.
And I work in a bar, so it's a little different.
I didn't know that.
You
well,
didn't know that? Come
no.
visit me in a bar.
Okay.
We have non-alcoholic beverages.
Okay.
Come, they're really good
Well,
too.
I want to hear your opinion, and then I have a
Yeah.
follow-up because I want to ask you something.
Yeah. So I wanted to say it's harder to find a person to have a good conversation with versus have a good sex with.
There it is, right there. That's what I needed to hear.
It's hard to find a good sex, and it's even harder to find a person to have a nice conversation with.
I agree.
It is hard. So I usually start with the sex, and then if you get to kind of... ¿Qué pasó? What happened to you?
I'm all for the sex too. Yes. We started with the sex too,
That's
Diego.
it.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
You just do
We're a
sex.
gay man.
And if there's any capacity left for you and for them to have conversation, have it. Do it. If not, ciao.
Ciao.
Okay.
I like that.
I hear that. And you know what? He doesn't even live here. So if we hook up again, then I will. I didn't ask him questions about his political views just because I was scared, because I definitely wanted to fuck. And
Please don't.
And we talked for 2 hours. So I was at this point, I was like, I invested way too much in this. And
Interesting.
So yeah. Anyway, I'll follow your advice. We'll see what happens. Friends with benefits might be where we're going with this.
Speaking
Yes.
of labels, you can call your guys, your boyfriends, your wherever you want it, wherever it's comfortable. It doesn't matter. I call my boyfriends boyfriends. A lot of people questioning me, why you call them boyfriends? It's like, wherever. Call them wherever.
Go.
I call them as I call
I like that. Not
Whatever
getting so
works for
hung
you.
up on
Label.
Change
the
the label to
Yeah.
whatever works for you.
That's
We just see each
Interesting.
other.
I
Okay,
love that.
call it this way.
Yeah.
Fine.
That's really good. All right. Well, since you're here with us, we do a fun game that Straight Up Gay Porn puts out.
He just got really excited.
And
Is this me on the picture?
This might
oh,
be you.
that could be me, honey.
Straight Up Gay Porn produces this, and if you're watching this,
I
we
know
will-
this guy, of
Okay.
course. Hello,
Calm
that's
down,
my
calm
friend.
down. Let me explain the game before our audience.
You don't have to, honey. Oof. I'm jumping out of my pants.
But besides you, there's an audience out here, and it's our job that Straight Up Gay Porn puts out of 19 adult performers. They ask the question, who took the best photo of the week? It's our job on
Girl, they
mainly
are
an
not here.
audio
Calm down.
podcast to vividly describe who and why. Okay. Here's okay.
Jesus, so
Here we go.
huge.
So we've got. You guys got to look and you got to pick because I'm gonna do. We've got XL broccoli. Okay, interesting. We've got next up Luca Roca.
Is that him? No, it's not him.
That's
Okay,
Luca.
okay, that's not my friend. Okay,
We've
fine.
got Polo from the
Can I see-
305. Let me pull this up a little bit. I know. We've got Matt Attack with the nice balls. I will just describe that. Oh, we've got
Oh my
Locke
God.
Rios and Matias Uribe. How would you describe this, Cody?
they're about to fuck, and
Matthias?
and he's standing over top of. Locke is laying down.
Oh
on the bed
my
with his
God.
heart on
Dick is
top,
in the air.
and the other guy is standing over him, and you can see his ass.
And we've got
Damn, he's sexy.
JJ Aussie
JJ Aussie. I have a
looking
crush
really
on him.
ripped. Jackson, Harry.
Also very sexy.
Yeah, a nice ass by Mike Monroe. And we've got Danny, Fantasy, and Austin Wolf looking delicious together. And Tyson Steven with a great tattoo on his huge thigh.
There's a lot
huge
of
cock.
good ones.
And oh my God, Sean Ford and Texas Twink. They're both twinks together. Oh my God, Adrian Hart looking delicious with abs of steel. Colton McKeon with his legs in the air. There's too many.
There's too many.
Can you just pick one? We only have so many seconds. You pick it as our special guest.
There is one. There is
All
one.
right, which
with
one?
The,
Why?
with the butt.
With the
hole.
butt. Thank
The
you.
two people. Yeah, this one.
Okay,
that one with
so
Rios.
yes, and that's all the time we have. He picked Leo Rios and Matthias Uribe.
I hope I picked the Leo one, the one with the huge equipment.
We want to thank our very special guest, Oleg, to the show. How do you want people to follow you? Please tell them.
Oh, you can follow me on Instagram. It's OlegGKUDYMOV.
We'll list it on the show notes. Follow Cody on the gram at Mr. Maurice. Follow me on the gram, IN_Steve B. And we really thank you for being
you.
in studio for us. And in the meantime, continue having hot, gay sex. Polyamorous if you need it to be.